Throughout history, the horrors of colonialism and slavery have cast long, dark shadows over the lives of Black and Indigenous women. On the plantations in America, enslaved women and girls were not only stripped of their freedom, but also of their dignity and their humanity. Their bodies were just seen as tools subjected to violence and forced reproduction. In the colonial Spanish territories, laws such as the Law of the Indies made it nearly impossible for women of African and indigenous descent to seek any justice for the atrocities that were committed against them. Spanish cultural norms dehumanized them, treating them as mere property, leading to institutionalized rape and forced breeding. The colonial rulers were never held accountable, and instead, these violent beliefs were then passed down through generation to generation. Now, this violence was not just physical. The trauma seared into the very fabric of their communities, and it's been carried forward from generation to generation. So today, Black and Indigenous women still suffer from all of that brutality. The exploitation, the systemic rape, and the dehumanization have left scars that persist in their mental health and physical health, as many studies have shown that trauma is passed on through epigenetics too. So this is a legacy of intergenerational trauma, the wounds of our ancestors, unhealed and passed down like inheritance. Trauma does not just affect the victim, but it ripples through the families, through the communities, and sometimes entire cultures, contributing to cycles of pain and disenfranchisement. But the story does not end with just the descendants of the enslaved people. For the descendants of the colonizers, the impact of this violent past also lingers. So many remain unaware of the brutal systems of their forefathers that has shaped their privileges and their perceptions of today. And some still continue to uphold racial and gender hierarchies, whether consciously or unconsciously, which then perpetuates the same violence and the same oppression. Unchallenged beliefs, institutionalized during the colonial era, continue to manifest in our systems of justice, our health systems, and our education systems. The dehumanization of Black women, the very women who once bore the violence of slavery, remains woven into the social fabric. So healing from intergenerational trauma requires us to confront the uncomfortable truths in our stories, and that's in everyone's stories, both Black and Indigenous communities and for the descendants of the colonizers. We must recognize that with the violent legacies, there is a past to both sides. And to break free from the cycles of exploitation and pain, we must address the deep-rooted beliefs that continue to justify and perpetuate the violence. It's only by facing the horrors of the past, acknowledging the traumas, and committing to justice and healing that we can hope to create a future free from the violence that has plagued women and girls for generations.